Chad, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Busy day, busy day. But this is a fun one. I'm excited about this one.
You busy?
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
Got some mangoes here.
Yeah. I heard about your eating habits on a prior episode, but mango's a step up. It's healthier,
and it's not as crunchy, Shaw. Plenty of sugars, more sugars than I need. I think this one only has like 400 calories, probably like 90 grams of sugar, whatever. It's
just pretend you're carbo loading for your next hunt, dude.
There we go.
What's up, man? What have you been up to?
Let's see. Falconry season's over. I'm trying to chase some lions. I just haven't gotten on anything. I've been looking for tracks a lot. Found a really old one to turn out on the other day, and they did good. The pups got out and got to chase it. We never jumped it up, but it was just cold trailing forever. But they got to go up the canyon and down the canyon and got on some dry land. And luckily, we found it in the snow again, so they got to push through that. And but nothing to take a picture of, really.
Just good old fashioned dog work.
Just waiting for spring bear to open up, really, at this point.
Ah.
And now the prairie dogs are starting to peek out, and that's fun target practice. I got an old farm road where I felt like I can't shoot them with a 44 from the vehicle. That may or may not be 100% safe, but it's a whole lot of fun. So yeah,
I've never done it.
Coming back around again and waiting for spring bear, man. What about you?
Nice.
The long dogs doing good, or not the long dogs?
They are. Well, all of them. I mean, I had to lay up my long dogs from injury, but it's been the season of the Saluki.
There you
go. Yeah, man, just getting your hopes up for your two. I know when I talk about them, you're like, I want mine. Uh-huh. So if your girls come out like these boys, then you're going to be a happy camper. They've been, they appreciate the speed in January and December when I run my greyhounds with them, but they're just a little less desert adapted than my Salukis, and I can run them really hard. And yeah, they've been piling them up. Been very happy. We limit ourselves to one hare a day, so that kind of is lame. Safe. But hey, that keeps it where we can find hares. So you drive 2 hours for a 3-minute course. But I caught a 4-minute rabbit 2 weeks ago. I'm still riding that high. I had a pretty ugly spill, but everyone is all right. And Strider caught that rabbit. So that was the last race. I'm going to go out this week sometime. Looking forward to it. But otherwise, my world's just mostly on the couch for them.
All right, yeah.
So, yeah, a little less diverse, my brother. We got an easy, let's see. There will be less bouncing around this episode of All Mixed Up than there typically is. But I'm going to say right now, this episode of All Mixed Up is the very definition of what I had in mind for this show. Chad, you wrangled up a great host. Break it down, brother.
We got the Python Cowboy, aka Trapper Mike, mainly known as the guy catching all these giant pythons down in Florida, down in South Florida, the Everglades, and shooting the iguanas. I imagine most people listening to this episode have seen at least one video of some wild Florida redneck shooting iguanas out of trees and sticking his drahthaars and dogs on them to go grab them, wounded iguanas, and fetch them back into the boat. He takes a lot of people, so there's always some new folks in the videos, but
yeah,
that and a hog dogger, so we kind of break down all the cool stuff he does and how he does it and why he does it. The iguanas and the pythons are an invasive species. They do not belong there, and they're causing a problem, killing off the native wildlife, and to where all it is
pigs too.
yeah, I know, right? Between the iguanas, the snakes, and the hogs, like those are his three things, at least the main things he's known for, and none of them belong, and they're absolutely everywhere. So,
yeah, when you text me, you were like, "Oh man, I got Python Cowboy on the line." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I saw that guy on YouTube. Let's talk to him. So, Chad, you guys coming in clutch as usual. Yeah, it was fun, man. I had a lot of, I wanted to ask him the questions that weren't just like, obviously I was like, hey, tell us about yourself, but I want to ask him the questions we're all thinking. like, can you get killed by those things?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So obviously I was pretty excited to talk to him. I first saw one of his videos on YouTube with one of my favorite food review guy when eating food with him. You guys will hear all about that. I had a lot of fun talking to him, man. He's a character, and I think you and I are going to have to make our trip to Florida soon.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to, get haggis on a hog and, maybe, steal a terrier from one of my local guys, one of my terriers back when they're not looking, and run down there and give it a shot again. I haven't hog hunted in years. I'm dying. I've missed it. That'd be awesome.
I got a lot of fun poking fun at all the different quirks, you guys. I'm going to just say right now, all my terrier people out there, you guys know I love you. This show was, I heavily featured terriers in here. And so I made a couple of jokes. You guys will love it.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. And, I have two pre-roll stories I want to break down before we roll into the episode. First of all, my favorite Florida hunting story of all time is I was in wildlife school when I first heard this. Bow fishing is huge there. You guys have like lots of waterways and stuff, and bow fishing alligators. I don't know if it's legal or not, but I think it is, but this is not relevant to this story.
Okay.
There was a guy who was bow fishing for alligators.
Okay.
He shot an alligator with his bow. Turns out it was a tweaker using an alligator head decoy so he could breathe, and he was swimming across canals with drugs to take drugs over to a dead drop to hide. And this bow fisherman spotlighted the alligator head and shot the alligator with his bow, and it was a tweaker swimming. And I'm just like, that's so true. That's Florida.
Oh, that's very Florida. But now I got a question. Do you think like the GoWild accounts you could mark that as a trophy? You think you can mark that as a trophy on GoWild? Like, okay, what is it? Yeah. Tweaker taken in South Florida, yeah. With means of take, like a fishing bow.
You were like, I was trying to get his age by his teeth, but he doesn't have any.
No, there's a little nub there. Generally, if your tweakers are to nub status at that point, they're just about to fall into the 30s. I think
I thought he was an old, mature male. It looked like he was 75, but in reality, he was 22.
There you go. Just, hard life. It's hard. It's hard to be a tweaker in Florida sometimes.
Can you imagine reeling that guy in when he's smoking with your bow?
What happened? Was there more to the story?
I don't know. Obviously the cops and the ambulance came. I don't know. There wasn't much of a follow up. They just were like, yeah, some guy. And then, another funny thing is Python Cowboy is kind of living one of my prospective life goals, because when I was leaving wildlife school, I got a job with Ted Turner, the Turner Endangered Species Fund. Okay. And I worked with that for a while. It was a blast. I loved it, but it was just a temporary gig. And my plan was back then when I graduated in 2010, I was in school, but when I graduated in 2013 and worked for TESF, those pythons were really getting a lot of news. And they were hiring hunters to go out there and start biologists to start that hunting program to kind of flesh it out and kind of get an idea of what that hunting program is going to be like. And dude, that's what I wanted to do. Straight up. I wanted to apply to, I wanted to go to Florida and contract to hunt those pythons. But then I met a lady, and she was like, you should come back to New Mexico. And I was like, all right, well, girls have a way of doing that to you.
They'll do it, bro.
I was like, snake or cat? I'm choosing cat.
Yeah, there you go.
If you catch my drift.
Oh yeah.
I went back and I didn't get to do it. So that is something that's definitely on my bucket list. And hey, dude, I'm down to try eating one if you are.
What, a snake?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, why not? I'll try a snake.
Let's eat a python, dude.
I don't know if I want to eat a rattlesnake, but
I've eaten a rattlesnake. Yeah.
I'll do a python. That's fine. What's funny is that I didn't actually get to come up with it, but I know a bunch of people that shoot the things down in different spots of Florida, and they actually will mail it out to different places in the United States for falconers to use as food for their birds, like iguana tail, I guess. Idea. It's not like it's perfect. It's not like an ideal food or something like that. It's just a quality meat. That nobody's doing anything else with, so like I'm not okaying the use of it or anything like that. I just know that it's been done. I've never feeded it. I don't know what it does to a bird or how, how they do on it. I know there are some species of raptor that, eat amphibians, as a base,
for sure.
But, but as a staple diet, I don't know.
I think it's fine. I mean, maybe not a staple. It's not nutritionally complete, but the tails, I mean, why not? If you're feeding the whole body, sure. Sure. Why not? Another weird, funny thing with those iguanas. So they are edible and people do eat them. And there was a funny story I was reading on the Weird News that this guy, there was a cold snap in Florida and all those things were like falling out of the trees cold. Yep. And he picked them up and put them all in his car. And they all came back to life in his warm car, and they were like freaking out in his car. And he had to pull over on the interstate, just open the door, and all these iguanas are like running out of his car. So anyway, that'd make me laugh. I'd love to see that. But you know what's so funny? There's so many things flying through my head right now. Eating weird, you're feeding stuff to your animals that's not just like normal food. I have a really diverse group of friends, and a lot of them are not hound. Most of them are not hound people, right? And my buddy has this dog. And he's like, he just texted me out of the blue and he's like, hey, I just saw her eat a dead rat. Should I be worried? Or what should I do? And I said, nothing.
Yeah.
It just ate a dead rat. Like, dude, your dogs eat disgusting stuff. So
anyway. Like the worst I can think of would be like, just make rat sure you worm it at some point. But I mean, like, or maybe some like holdover rat poison. But if it was alive and well, yeah, that's good protein, man.
Dude, it's 150-pound Great Pyrenees, and it ate one dead rat. Even if it had been poisoned, it's a fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, it just made me laugh. Don't do anything. It's a dog. My Calypso eats the poop straight out of the butts of my other dogs like every day. So she's disgusting, dude. Yes, 3 of my other dogs, for whatever reason, she just loves their poop, and while they're pooping, she'll just eat it
right from the
coming
tap,
straight out of the tap, from the tap, dude.
God.
Oh, it's disgusting. But you know what? I don't let her lick me, and I'm happy because she's just picking up dog poop for me.
There you go.
That episode of Tethering, when you guys were talking about cleaning kennels, I was like, Chad just needs a pack of Calypsos out there and just eat all the poop.
Those pills work. I've always wondered how the hell those those stool prevention eating whatever the pills you feed the dog to prevent them from eating poop. I've always wondered. They do. They actually do work. I've had issues with it, but I don't understand how.
Maybe
hey, we got this
bitter or something.
We got this turd. How do we make it taste bad? Like what?
Exactly. Yeah. I need to make crap taste bad.
Yeah. Let's figure out how to do this. But for whatever reason, it works, man. I had one that was in my my pack of yard dogs, that kind of come in and out and do a lot of that. And one of them, it was a pup, and it got into it. And the problem was, he was on his before, and I gave him the pills, and he stopped eating his. Then he started eating everybody else's. So in order to stop it, because this dog had a beard too, it's not something I want to deal with. Then I had to give all of them the stinking pills. So every dog that was out there had to be on the pills just for the one, and it did work. It's done. We don't have that problem anymore. But
interesting.
You got to do it though. It's not like a
Send me a link to those pills, dude.
Yeah, it's not like a 1 month thing. You got to feed them to everybody, and do it for a while until the dog just knows it's
done with it.
Yep. So, it works.
Nasty Calypso. Cool. Well, yeah, man. I had a bunch of little funny stories that I was thinking about while we were just kind of chatting. But if you're good, brother, I was super pumped. Hey guys, I'm excited to share this with you, and like I said, big thanks to you, Chad, for making this all happen. But when we thought of the Houndsman XP all mixed up episode, this is kind of what I had in mind. I wanted to showcase all the cool, weird, kind of out of the normal tree dog stuff that there is with hunting with dogs. So this is freaking perfect,
right?
So I'm really excited to have this episode on. So I just say let's roll right into it.
Let's get it.
I like how Zoom tells you you're being recorded. So polite, that way I can get bashful. You know what I mean? How's it going, buddy? How are you doing?
Good. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing great. We got Python Cowboy, Trapper Mike in the house, man. I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Heck yeah. Glad to be here.
How many titles do you have, dude? Because like I was thinking Game of Thrones style, you're like the Trapper, the Cowboy, the Lizard King. Like how many
I'm
titles
sure there's
do
a
you
few
have?
that I don't know about too.
We'll ask your wife.
Yeah. Don't ask her. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of different job titles. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, everybody knows All Mixed Up. It's all about that cool offbeat hunting experiences with dogs. And Chad, the beast he's always wrangling in cool people. So why don't you introduce yourself, buddy, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you hunt with dogs and how.
Yeah, my name's Mike Kimmel, Trapper Mike or Python Cowboy. I'm down here in Florida. I own and operate a trapping and wildlife rescue company. But I'm mainly known for hunting invasive species and using a dog to do it. Hunt iguanas. I use a dog to help me track them down, catch them, bring them back to me. And a little even more different than that is I've been lately using a dog to help me find these pythons out in the Everglades. So, definitely something a little bit different. And yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've been having a good time with it.
Maybe just a little bit. So, yeah, I think, why don't you give us a brief overview of the pythons in Florida? Because I think everyone's kind of heard about it, but the story is a lot deeper and more serious than you might think. Break down the pythons for us. Give us a quick view of that.
Yeah, the pythons has definitely been getting a lot of attention lately. And it's definitely not as easy hunting these things as the TV shows make it seem like, that's the first thing I want to say. But, the pythons, they've been maybe this past 10 years becoming a really big problem, at least a problem people are noticing. Our native wildlife in the Everglades, their populations have plummeted so much so that state biologists are saying 90 to 99% of our small fur-bearing game in the Everglades has been wiped out by.
That's what I read. I read a peer-reviewed paper.
Wow.
Like this was quite a while ago too. That was like all possums, all coons in this area are dead, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, and it's pretty true. It really is. I mean, especially when I first started hunting these pythons, I would be out there for weeks at a time, sleeping in the swamp. I mean, hunting day and night. And that first year, I don't think I seen a single raccoon, a single possum, a single marsh rabbit. And that right there really tells you. Now, obviously, you get closer to city limits. You'll see some stray cats. You'll see stuff like that. But out there in the Everglades, I mean, it is wiped out. I will say there's more to it than just the pythons, which you may not hear many other people say. We have our water management issues. We have a growing panther population that we don't have the land to sustain. That's another kind of controversial issue. And just general Florida right now. We have so many people moving down here, which that kind of goes back to our water issues. Our Everglades is dying. They've been doing all these different restoration projects and stuff like that, but not a bunch has been getting done. And I think a lot of that does have effect on our wildlife, but it really comes down to the last thing we need hitting this already struggling wildlife are these invasive species. And they're hitting them hard. I mean, I've caught these snakes and opened them up and there's alligators inside of them. There's a couple raccoons. There's deer inside of them. I mean, it's
deer
wild.
Inside of them. Like
there's videos of that.
Oh yeah. So I think maybe 2 years ago, there was a python they opened up that had 3 deer inside of it, a whole deer and a fawn and remains of another deer. So it goes to show just, how hard they're hitting our wildlife. And I would say their main food source has become our alligators now because they've wiped everything else out. Myself alone, I've rescued 3 alligators from pythons. And to come across a snake strangling about to eat something is a very rare event in itself. So for me to come across that 3 times, over the past few years, it shows a lot.
I really feel like if at any random point you opened up Chad's stomach, you could find a chucker, a deer, maybe a coon, a partially digested swamp rabbit. You know what I mean?
A lion's paw.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, man. You know how I first heard of you, Python Cowboy? I watch a YouTube channel called Best Ever Food Review Show with this dude named Sunny Sides.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
And yeah, dude, and I freaking love that guy, man. I love that show. He'll eat anything. And I saw you eating that python. And okay, for real, I want a little behind the scenes, man, because I could tell I've eaten some weird stuff in my day. I mean, I've eaten rats and all, whatever, coons, all kinds of stuff. The look on your face was the kind of similar face that I made when I ate rats for the first time. And I was like, okay, break us down eating a python for real, dude.
Well, it wasn't even eating the python. It was eating the python liver. Like, I'm
yeah,
not
a
an
liver
adventurous eater. Dude, that's the first time I've eaten liver ever of anything.
Yeah.
So he brings me in on a damn python liver, And I'm not an adventurous eater. Like, I'm not down here. People think I'm down here eating iguana every night for dinner. I assure you I'm not.
What? You're not?
Yeah, exactly. So, the python wasn't the crazy thing. It was the liver that was pretty gross for me. And it's more the thought of it and the texture of the liver was just nasty,
I'm with you, man. Even short of a snake liver, just a liver it's the filter. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, there's bad stuff in your body, so we're gonna stick this thing here, and it's gonna collect all the nasty stuff in your body, and it'll hold it right there, and it'll filter it out of your system. And someone's like, you know what? I want to eat that. I want to put that in my stomach.
Dude, these pythons are known for having high mercury levels. That's all I'm thinking about. Is
So do you glow in the dark, man?
maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Those spots you're growing are not camouflage, dude. That's melanoma, yo.
Thankfully, I don't think I've eaten enough to have any effect. I feed it all to my hogs. You know what I mean?
I really respect that guy because I think I'm an adventurous eater, and then I saw that dude, and I was like, I'm not. Yeah. He is.
I'm a wuss
for sure. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it is. It's like the python's like chewing leather. It's
I've eaten rattlesnake and it's not bad, but I figured the python was just on a mega scale. But yeah,
it's too tough and chewy. Now maybe if someone knew how to cook it, it might be better. But I didn't know what I was doing.
Would you just pan fry it, right?
Yeah, I think I boiled it for a while, and like, dude, I don't cook at all anyway. My wife does all the cooking, so it's like, hey,
that's funny, man. Yeah, the crock pot, dude, crock pot. Listen, I'll tell you this right now. You take anything. You could take this binocular case right here. You could season it with garlic and onions and put it in a crock pot, and it'll come out delicious.
That's what I need to do then. Yeah.
Tips. Anyway, well, that's cool, man. Yeah, I was pretty excited when I heard you were talking to Chad, and I was like, I got to talk to this guy about eating the python with Sunny. That was cool. So,
yeah, it was not the best thing I've ever eaten.
I mean, you're down there with the gators, though, and gators delicious. I know that's like, like people outside of like Florida, that's like weird and like almost like an outlandish food, but I mean I grew up eating that.
And that's just it. I've had gator where someone don't know how to cook it and it's nasty, and then if we cook gator, we know what we're doing. It's damn good. But that could be the same thing with the iguana and the python. Even which the iguana is better than the python, but maybe I don't know what the hell I'm doing, which I'm sure I don't. So
there's some people that think boar hogs don't taste good.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, do you eat boar hogs, Chad?
Yeah. Well,
they're
delicious.
Nasty?
As big, like.
Yeah, it don't matter.
350-pound, whatever, man. It's all delicious. People that say the big ones are nasty just do like Mike's saying. They just don't know what they're doing.
Even if it's rank, you can make sausage or anything out of it, But
the first time I ever walked up on a boar hog, let me give you a little anecdote here. I was hunting with thermal rifles. I shined out in the field and I saw this white mass out in the field. And the guy I was hunting with, he's been thermal hunting for a while. And I was like, dude, what is that? And he was like, I don't know. Maybe it's a pump jack or something. I was like, nah, there was nothing there earlier. It's got to be an animal. And he's like, well, let's go sneak up on it and find out. So we start walking across this wheat field and we're walking up. We're downwind, obviously. It's still just this mass just sitting out there in the field. And I was like, what is that? So we get closer. We're about 50 yards and we still can't tell what it is. And so my buddy is like, let's just like walk down to the right, stay downwind and see if we can get a different angle on it. So we like come off to the right. just a little bit. And all he took was that little bit of walking for that perspective change. It was a big pig, like a wild hog, sitting like a dog with his front feet like between his legs, with his head like drooped between his legs, passed out, sleeping. And I was like, what? It's a pig. And he's like, well, duh, shoot it. So I was like, so I shoot this pig. I shot him right to the head. He dropped. And I was like, dude, smoked him. Awesome. We come up. So the pig is laying there. First of all, this is the first time I've ever been near a big boar hog. That thing smelled like an armpit mixed with liquid garbage. Yeah. Like that thing was the worst. I walked up and I was like, dude, what is that smell? And my buddy was like, that's what they smell like, man. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, the big rag ones, yeah.
And then he was like, do you want to eat it? And I was like, no, man, that thing's disgusting. And then it was laying there and I rolled it over to like get a cool picture. It's huge, dude. This thing looked like a bear laying there.
Yeah.
And its entire stomach from its penis up to its chin was just like sticky, gelatinous, like residue of love. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, there's a whole sounder of sows that he came in there bred, passed out. And the last thing that went through his mind was my bullet. But luckily for him, he died happy. I'd like to think he went out happy. That's my
we could all be so lucky.
That's right. Anyway, that was my whole boar hog story. I got nothing else to contribute. Just kidding.
It's funny, man. I just came up on it wasn't a boar hog. It was a pretty good sow recently. Dude, she was passed out like on this fence and dug herself a little waller. And I'm sitting there kicking the fence and she wouldn't wake up. I had to literally kick her in the head or wake her up. Like when these fuckers are passed out, they are passed out.
Yeah.
I was like, to my client, we're sitting there, so I'm like, you want to shoot it? He's like, I don't really want to just execute it, you know? I'm like, well,
you might as well kick
it in the head, woke it up, and it can shot right between my legs and almost ran into him. Yeah, it was wild.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I didn't mean to derail it on pigs. You are a pig hunter, aren't you?
Oh yeah. That's actually my favorite thing to do is catch hogs with the dogs.
Bold. Known as the Python Cowboy. Maybe you should be the boar cowboy.
That's it. Yes, sir.
So what's your style, man? Everybody's got a way to skin that cat. What kind of dogs do you like to run on them?
We call them like rough cur dogs. They kind of do it all. They'll go out, find it. Most of my dogs, if they're by themselves, they may bark till another dog gets there, and then they'll both catch it.
That's right.
That'll catch it by themselves, no matter how big it is. But
I grew up calling
I like
those,
the dog that does it all.
Yeah, I grew up calling those run and catch dogs, and we've had
run and catch dog or rough cur dog.
Many talks about this. So very, very, very good selection, Mike. I applaud it. Yeah. That's the way I grew up doing it too, man.
Now let me ask you something. Do you have a pack of yags in there too?
Oh, come on. Oh,
I got a buddy who does. And they're always fighting each other and fighting everything else. That's why I've stayed away from them a little bit. Not to say I don't have dogs that won't fight. But.
So what?
People, you know I love you.
So what? Blackmouth crosses or Catahoula? Or just gray, man. Just whatever.
Most of mine are blackmouth curs. I do. My father-in-law, Rick, Allie's dad, he's been hog hunting with dogs for 30 years, maybe more. He's gotten into plot hounds recently, and so I have a couple of better cur and plot hound mixes, but I like my cur dogs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, good stuff.
And then experience that for the first time next month.
So, the traditional, like, Seth's done all the, like, niche ways of hunting hogs. He's done all the cool, like, non-traditional ways, but he's never actually been to classic bay leashing catch dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like thermals and like running like supersized greyhounds and all that stuff, and yags. But no, I have not seen the classic, bulldog, bay dog going and getting them. So I'm pretty pumped for that. So anyway, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool way to do it. I got a bunch of buddies who, I hunt with sometimes that do that same thing. And there's, pluses and minuses to both of them, positive and negatives to both styles. But for what we do, we kind of like the run and catch dogs. Yeah.
Cool.
What I like about
them. That's awesome.
Them is like you shut it down pretty quick. If you got all the room and they aren't pressured too hard, the traditional bay and catch is pretty. You could watch it and pick your hog and all that stuff. But if you're just getting them before they go too far away,
That's what I'm about. You know, I'm either doing a removal for a ranch or a community, and they're going to run off into the state park where I'm not really supposed to be. Right. And, or I'm doing a guided hunt and I'm, you know, trying to get it done pretty quick. So I'd rather kind of, like you said, shut them down quick and get them.
Do you run vests, you know, or down there in the heat? What's your preference on that, man?
It is. It's tough to run the vest down here in the heat. You know, you're almost putting your dog at more risk sometimes.
That's right.
And too, with just the vegetation, the water, you know, it slows them down. They can drown. I like to run these leather bibs, and you know, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It doesn't weigh them down, it doesn't overheat them, but it does protect their neck and then that front of their chest. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I haven't lost a dog with them.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do you honestly worry about alligators hunting in Florida with dogs? I've always wondered that.
Big time. People always think it's my iguana dogs I'm worrying about because they're jumping in and out of the water.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I'm right there with them. I barely think about gators when I'm there. You know, the gators are going to stay away from us. And if they come, I'm going to see them pretty much. And he's just always right there with me. Now, my hog dogs, dude, they could get in a swamp that I've never been to, miles away from me, in just thick gator country. And I always worry about them getting gator. Where I run the iguana dogs, it's so residential, there's rarely gators. But out here where I'm hog hunting, it can be Gator City, you know?
Wow.
I know many people that have lost good dogs to gators every year.
You think people have lost dogs to pythons?
No. Well, I say that not hunting them, because nobody really hunts pythons with dogs besides me. But I caught a 13-foot North African rock python in a Miami neighborhood. Whoa. It's a different species of python, ones in the Everglades. They're known for being extra aggressive.
Yes.
I'm one of like maybe 5 people who have ever caught one in Florida. So this snake was like maybe 60 pounds, right on the side of somebody's house in the middle of a Miami neighborhood. 5 years prior to that, the same species of snake, I suspect at least, actually no, confirmed, the same species of snake killed a family Siberian husky. There's a picture of it and everything. What happened is the homeowner went outside to see this snake wrapped around his husky, full-size adult husky. He went inside, grabbed a butcher knife, stabbed the snake, sliced the snake, didn't even phase the thing. He then called the police. The police came over, shot the snake in the head. By that time, the dog was dead. So technically, you know, that is a case that didn't get eaten, but one did kill someone's dog. And as far as I know, that's maybe the only case of someone's actual, you know, dog. I'm sure plenty of feral cats and things like that.
That's a good thing,
though. It's a matter of time. You know, these snakes are out in the Everglades where people aren't, but they are starting to make their ways into more residential areas.
Can you imagine the cottonmouth eating a husky? Like, I don't know if he'd be able to get it down, man.
You know? Bigger than a cottonmouth.
High fiber diet. You know what I'm saying? Golly. Did you see that picture? Did you see that picture I posted as my banner, Chad, where Strider, after he caught that hair in his mouth, is just like full of hair? That's what I imagine that snake's feeling.
Exactly.
Well, I think they say that pythons can eat like 200% of their body weight or something crazy like that, which is pretty wild, you know?
I really do feel like I could do that at a Chinese buffet. I'm just going to say that. I could even unhinge my jaw to get that Szechuan chicken down. So.
Yeah. Well, then, let's see. What do you think, man? I mean, like, walk us through a python hunt. Then you got on that topic. I'm dying to hear it.
Yeah,
man.
same.
Like, break it down. Like, what do you leave the house? What do you do? How's it going?
Yeah. So, you know, it's a 2-hour drive for me, usually at least, to get down there. When I'm hunting for myself, which, you know, that's what I'll kind of explain right now, is when I'm going and hunting for myself, I usually try to get down there for at least 3 days, ideally more, because it is such a drive for me. So I'll get down there. I sleep in the back of my truck, usually have my boat, bring my lead hog dog Moose with me. And basically, once I get to the boat ramp, I'm right on the edge of the Everglades. I'm going out and I'm hunting these tree islands out there. These islands were piled up when they dug the canals, 100 years ago or more, I guess. And they're all covered in vegetation and alligators and all kind of stuff. And I get out there with my dog Moose, generally at night, depending on the time of year, and get off on these islands and kind of just let him lead the way and hope he brings me to a snake.
Does he range? How far out does he go?
No. So because of the gators down there, I like to have an eye on them. I'll keep them.
That's what I figured.
Usually within like 10 to 30 feet in front of me. Yep. Sometimes even on a leash. But he just kind of, it's totally different than how he hog hunts. When I turn him loose to hog hunt, dude, don't stop. Like he's running full bore. And when he finds that thing, he's grabbing it, catching it, going nuts on it, basically. Mm-hmm. When I have him out there snake hunting, it's like a switch is flipped. He's walking slow. He's cautious. He's careful. And then when he finds a snake, he points it, basically, which is pretty wild for, just a hog dog, cur dog. I don't know where the hell he gets that from, but it is. It's the ugliest point you ever seen, really. But, he stops. He points right at it. And the first time I actually got him out there, I hunted the islands for a few days without even trying them, and I wasn't finding. And I was like, well, I got Moose with me. I'll turn him loose and see if I get lucky. At the time, I was mainly hunting for the state, and I'm not allowed to use a dog when I hunt for the state. So I clock out, and I say, screw the hourly wage, which is minimum wage. Screw the hourly wage. Let me just use my dog and see what happens. That first day, he found 2 snakes. And I couldn't believe that when he, I let him lead the way. I could tell he's on something. Mm-hmm. And then he freezes. Or actually, no, I think that first day he got real excited, kind of ran around in there a little bit. And then when he got right on top of it, he just absolutely freezed. I got it all on video. It's on my YouTube. And for me, I was crapping my pants because this is kind of what I've been waiting for is using a dog to do this. I was using 2 Brittany Spaniels, training them. Someone actually donated them to me to try to train as snake dogs. So I was training them and I was getting nowhere with them. I knew I wanted a dog that was going to stop and point, not so much try to catch it. Mm-hmm. And, they were just, to be honest with you, they're just dumb as a box of rocks. And I would get a snake and I'd have it in a bag after I caught it, and they would just be stepping on it like it wasn't even there. So I got real discouraged with it. And when I finally had Moose out there and we found that first snake, it was like, it fired me up. We got to really kind of pursue this and move along with it.
Isn't it amazing how dogs can switch like that? Like the ability for them to know your body language, and the words that they've associated with pig hunting or snake hunting, how incredible they can just switch and change. I mean, Chad, you got really versatile dogs. You know what I'm talking about. But I mean, I think the big thing with him was, so when I was hunting, on the side of the levee for all the years before this, he was always in my truck with me. I take Moose everywhere with me. So he's seen me, I can't tell you how many times on the side of levee catching these things, getting pissed on by them, because they do. Every time you catch them, they can musk all over you. Me too.
And getting them back to my house to euthanize them. And, so he knows what they smell like. He knows I hunt them. And I don't know if that helped him kind of piece it together or what. But and two, we've gator trained them. We've snake trained them to know that these things are bad news. So maybe that's why he's a little more cautious out there too. I don't know, but it definitely has been cool to watch him kind of go back and forth between the two.
That's really cool. So how far out generally when he locks up for you? Like,
well, I've had it where he does it right on top of him, and I've had him where he does it maybe, 20, 30 feet away from him. For him too, it's still new. I've caught like 15, 20 snakes with him. Since I've started using them has been like the least I've Python hunted, because I'm so busy with iguana hunts and taking people out on guided hunts now. Mm-hmm. So, I haven't been quite hunting them like I used to, But in that amount of time, he's figured out that I want him to not bite these snakes, not try to catch them, to kind of sit back and just let me do my thing, which I think in this past snakes where I've been having him stay out of it and not do nothing, he's kind of, it ain't as fun for him anymore. I can tell, like, he's not excited when I take him out there like he used to be to get out on those islands. I don't know what it is. That's why lately I've been taking Otto out and trying to get him a little more into it. I think Moose is a more catch and shake kind of guy or something.
Tell me about the legality of hunting with dogs for snakes. Like, okay, I assume obviously for recreational it is, but you would think the state would be more accepting of that because dogs are bred to find hidden game. And it's like, I can't think of something that hides better than a snake.
100%. And that's why I've been pushing for it so much. And I pushed for it so much with the state, but I think for them, there's just so much red tape. None of the other Python hunters, A, have hunting dogs in the first place, and B, are really the kind of people to handle dogs. A lot of them are like bankers, or, they're not generally what you would think hunters are. They have different day jobs, and a lot of them, they're more reptile people than they are hunters. Yep. What they would need to do for that is like hire a dog handling team or contract a dog handling team. They need to get funding for it, which FWC supposedly has some Python detection dogs they claim. But I've never seen anything from it. I've never heard anything from it. I've never seen a successful capture. I think it was more of a publicity stunt than anything, which we see a lot from them. So, I think it's the kind of thing where they don't see the benefit in it yet. I think once we show that, they'll maybe try to get some funding to do a dog handling team, a detection team, which I would like to try to position myself to be that team. But until then, it's, I feel like I got to prove it a little bit.
What's a good night of snake hunting or day? Do you do it during the day or at night?
It depends on time of year. Generally, I like to go at night. The really best time of year is like summer to early fall. I like to go out from sunset to sunrise, hunt all night. And I'm looking for them when they're out hunting. I'm not finding them curled up. I'm finding them stretched out. Whether I'm hunting the islands with the dog or if I'm cruising in my truck hunting the levees, we have a number of levees that will stretch 20 miles or more out in the Everglades, and these snakes come up on these levees to hunt and all kind of stuff, travel. And that's really what you're trying to do, is you're trying to get these snakes out in the open. Obviously with the dog, it helps me find them in the thicker stuff. But even then, he might alert me to an area and I got to dig through all this vegetation to eventually find the snake. A 13-foot python could hide in 6 inches of grass in front of you like you wouldn't believe. So that's why the dog really is just so essential. Before I use the dog, I can imagine how many snakes I literally walked right over. And now with the dog, I'm out there on these islands breaking down trails, and he'll stop and let me know, hey, there's something here you just walked by, which he's done many times for me. But it is to kind of walk you back through a hunt on these islands. It's just island after island after island. Not every island's going to have a snake. Not every night we're going to find a snake. I can't tell you how many weeks I've spent down there and not find a single one.
Man, it is hunting.
It's really even more so with these snakes, man. It's so hit or miss. I always tell people when they're booking a hunt with me, it's the only hunt I do where I can't guarantee it. If you come on a gator hunt, an iguana hunt, a hog hunt, I can guarantee what you're going to get pretty much down to, especially with the gators, down to the 6 inches of, you tell me you want a 12-foot gator, we'll get you a 12-foot gator. And you're not going to pay for a 12-foot gator until I get it for you. But on these damn python hunts, it is just hit or miss. It really is. I've had nights where I've gotten a dozen. And like I said, I've had weeks where I haven't gotten a single one.
I'm going to ask the question that everyone's thinking, dude, have you been bitten by these things? And if so, how bad is it when you get bit by a huge one?
He's got videos of it.
Yeah. I've been bitten. Yeah. I got a video on my YouTube of me getting bit by a 17-foot, 7-inch, 135-pound python. And
oh my God.
As far as I know, I don't know anyone that's been bitten by a bigger one.
Break down a python's teeth compared to a viper, because like obviously the constrictors have an entirely different dentition than anything in like Viperidae.
Well, when it's that size, I mean, every single one of its teeth is about the fang of a viper. They're all these long recurved fangs.
How many do they have? Like
2
50?
rows, top and bottom? No, probably more than 50. Probably more than 50. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a lot.
I don't know how many, but if I had to guess, I'd say like 60 to 70, maybe something like that.
After
so
30,
getting bit by,
after 30 of them, it's kind of like it's a wash at that point.
But to be honest with you, people always think it's like gonna mess you up. I've never I didn't have to go to the hospital, which I'm always kind of reluctant to go to the hospital in the first place, but. I didn't go to the hospital, about as bad as it got was my entire arm. A good portion of my arm was black and blue for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, just from, I think all the punctures and just kind of damage I took into the muscle. It was on my arm. But other than that, it's, once it clotted up and I stopped bleeding, it's just a bunch of punctures is really all it is. A bunch of, decent sized needles, but the main thing when that snake bit me is I was just super lucky. It was a defensive strike and it didn't try to latch on and wrap me.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what?
I was going to ask if you've been constricted, dude.
Dude, I'm about 135 pounds. This snake was 135 pounds. I'm out there in the middle of the Everglades totally by myself. It was, the heat of the day. And if this thing did latch onto my arm and wrap me, I could have been in serious trouble, like where it could have killed me.
That's what I was going to ask you. You're the expert. I mean, in my layman's mind, that rascal could kill you. I mean, not kind of if I was a bad day, if I was sick. Like if you were on the peak of your game and wrapped you up, you could die from that rascal. Right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Your average python, like, dude, there's old ladies out here catching these things. So I don't want to leave it up like I'm some badass. It's
so
not
you're saying Chad has a chance, is what you're saying.
Chad has a very good chance. Very good chance.
Yeah.
So, it's all about how you handle them and everything like that. And like I said, if I got lucky that it didn't latch on to me, but your average snake, you would have to kind of be an idiot to let it get the better of you.
Okay.
That's not your average snake. Your average snake is 6 to like maybe 12 foot. Anything, above like 14, 15 foot, you need to be careful of, because that thing can get you in a bad situation. I've been holding up a big 15 footer for pictures or something after I caught it for some dude's YouTube channel. And, granted, I'm holding it up, kind of letting it get around me for pictures. But before I know it, I mean, this thing's got my arms pinned. And if that dude wasn't there to unravel that snake around me, like I would have had a serious trouble getting this snake off me.
Damn.
It is. They're solid muscle. If they get you where they want you, you're kind of screwed.
What's the biggest one you've ever caught?
Was that one that bit me? 17 foot, 7 inches. Yeah.
That's huge.
I've caught a number of them close to that, but it was the record for a while. And I want to say it's still the largest captured by a single person, at least the heaviest by a single person.
Damn.
I've even thought that like maybe it's not, because obviously it could wrap you up, and then if it happens to wrap around your neck or something, like if it gets around your chest, that could kill you too. But if it loops around your neck 1-2 times, you're in trouble.
If it gets around your neck pretty good, it can be seconds. I've seen it on video.
Yeah, because it's a blood choke at that point. It's going to push the blood up. You're going to pass out, and it's over. But something I was even thinking, what if it like grabbed one of your arms and just pulled that arm in and had your legs and then just rolled off the bank? Like
the water,
you can just drown. All it is a weight on your body, and even it's not even a killing blow, so to speak, that it could just drown you on accident, right?
There's a lot that can go wrong. Yeah.
I thought I was a man hunting jackrabbits. Damn.
But their teeth, though, they're quick with them. Just,
it's jackrabbit. Oh man, well, you're a king of reptiles, and it sounds like obviously you're well known for your invasive species hunting. Break down what else you're doing with dogs.
Yeah, so the iguanas has become really the big thing right now. I think the pythons blew me up, and the iguanas has been what's gotten big recently. Our top 2 invasives in Florida, at least for reptiles, is definitely our pythons and iguanas. The pythons more so affects our wildlife, and the iguanas affects like our infrastructure and properties.
How are they affecting infrastructure?
So they dig burrows and they eat vegetation. Mainly what people see is the vegetation they eat. You know, these people down here, they spend so much money on their landscaping, and these iguanas will wipe it out, and then they'll shit everywhere. The main thing I'm concerned about is the burrows they dig and the effects they have on the native wildlife.
Yeah.
So they dig these burrows that undermine our sidewalks, seawalls, housing foundations, levee embankments. And to give you an idea, the town of Davie, which is not even a city, it's a little town in South Florida, they spent $1.7 million last year repairing their levee embankments from these iguana burrows. And on top of that, they've been displacing our burrowing owls, our gopher tortoise, and both of those species are protected and threatened here in Florida.
Can you imagine getting your house undermined by iguanas, dude? Like, you're just like, you come home one day, your trailer's broken half, and you're like, what happened? You're like, damn iguanas. Like,
it's not even trailers, it's multi-million-dollar houses.
Yeah. You build a mansion and it gets destroyed by stupid iguanas.
Like, it happened to my parents who are living in South Florida, and they had their little seawall has been eroding away, and he did all kinds of different things to try and hold on to it, and come to find out that's one of the things that was wearing it out. I mean, like, he's lost, like, I think it's like 8 feet of the backyard I grew up in is gone. It's in the pond now, you know, and it's because of these things. And he wears them out,
and it collapses and then washes out.
Yep, and they're like, everyone's throwing like if they tear up like an asphalt road now, everyone's like on like piranhas, like to seal up all the asphalt, to just throw it out there and try and hold on to something, you know. And that obviously isn't the best way to fix it, but like, that's what they're saying is like the pond like has been eating in the pond bank, and this is a big irrigation / you know, it's not just a little pond, it travels through the whole area, but now it's so full of like, you know, just asphalt hunks with people trying to make their own little seawalls, and they're, you know, causing more problems with that even. So,
and a lot of these canals, they manage our water in Florida. Like, they're very important, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's crucial. But yeah, to go back to these iguanas, I've walked, you know, I've been hired by these people, multi-million-dollar house. I've gone in their backyard to shoot these iguanas, and I have it on video. It might be on my YouTube still. Their hot tub is going. And dude, it's chocolate pudding. It looks like chocolate pudding from all the iguana poop in there. It made the news. It made the news. It's disgusting, dude. And
relaxing.
It's a health issue. Their poop has salmonella and all kind of, you know, illnesses and stuff. So
I don't know about you.
Big problem.
But when I get done with a hard day of work, I like to curl up with a good book and a bubbling pot of iguana crap. Just takes the edge off, you know?
What's wrong with you Florida people? It's exfoliating, dude. Salmonella's for real, man, cowboy.
And these homeowners had no idea. They live in New York, you know. This is like their summer home. So they just had their hot tub just marinating.
Oh, that's so funny. Who leaves the lid off for an extended period of time? Who does that?
It's foul.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious, dude. Oh, keep going with the iguana hunting. This is great, dude.
Yeah,
I'm learning so much.
So the dogs are a crucial part of the iguanas. I mean, these iguanas are as tough as it gets. Like, you could shoot them literally 10 times in the body and they will still run away and get away from you. You have to hit them perfect in that brain, and that's a lot easier said than done, especially a lot of times I'm on a boat, you know, moving boats, shooting offhand. It can be tough. And these clients coming out can't shoot worth a damn anyway. So, you know, I got to have something that will go in and retrieve them and bring them back. So I'm not constantly getting up on the bank and getting them, but also will hunt down and catch these iguanas if they're wounded or alive. And, we got, you know, my, German wire hair pointer and a couple of drops we use as well.
I'm sorry, the microphone must have hiccuped. Could you
I seen you rubbing your hands over there.
What was the breed again? That amazing.
And dude, I will tell you. So Allie,
I thought they were the same thing.
Otto's pretty much a bootleg draught. His parents were draughts, and I guess, you know, I'm not in all of this. My wife Allie is more, but I guess his breeding wasn't approved. So, you know, he's a German wire hair pointer.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have two legit draughts, Catfish and Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I'm a believer with these dogs now. They are legit. They are badass, super versatile, and they're rough. They're gritty. They'll get in there and do like what my cur dogs do. You know what I mean? But they're way better for this kind of stuff. And it is. This is before using them on the iguanas and before getting Otto. I've never worked with a wire hair, and dude, I want to start using them for hog dogs. They're badass, you know.
Yeah, that's coming up. I'm going to pick your brain on that here in a minute.
You guys, the listeners can't see this, but Chad's having like a conniption attack over here.
I'm geeking out over here, man. You know, like somebody I respect and admire has seen the light. He understands. These things are amazing. I love them. I love them.
They're badass. They are.
And every time I see your videos, I'm like, yes, that's it, man. You know, like you got the whole puzzle because they're bulldogging out there, stomping on them. I will beat you to death with my face, you know, like getting bit, bringing them back, you know. And then if they do get away, they can actually hunt for them in the water. They'll track them down with their nose in the water, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh well, dude, he goes under the water, gets them. He snatches them out of trees. I mean, dude, when he jumps off that boat into like the thickest vegetation you can imagine, all the clients are always like, "What?" Like they could never think a dog could do this.
Yep.
He does, dude. I'll send him in there. I can't tell you how many times where I'm like, we're not getting that iguana, but who cares? I'll send him in, see what happens. And fucking here he comes with it. You know what I mean?
And I don't know if I've seen it, but I'm sure it's happened. So because I've seen it happen with me, so I'm sure it's happened with you. Well, you'll plug one and they'll go underwater and the dog will hunt around for a while and it takes a second. It's not, they can't do it like immediately.
Oh no, they need to learn experience.
But it'll permeate up through the water. And he'll like wind it from the water and then splash his face underwater and pull it up. Like he tracks it under the water.
You know? I didn't know if that's what he was doing, but now that you say that, I can't tell you how many times where the iguana's under the water and he's going, and I just assume he saw where it went down. But you know, the dogs they don't see the green and orange and red very well.
No.
And especially under the water, they have a hell of a time seeing these things. They blend in so well. But he'll go right past it, stop, like he smelt it, and go right on the water smelling, and then he goes down and picks it right up from underneath the water.
That's it. Yeah. Because it happens with a lot of the ducks and stuff, or coots even, that we fool with here. You'll shoot them, and they'll go underwater like 30 feet away down the bank, and they'll tuck themselves underneath the brush and die. You know, and the dog will just go up and down the bank for a while, and you'll see him pick his nose up and go out 3 or 4 feet. Because sometimes there's like these like islands, like they're suspended. It's like this overgrown bank that's like
it's a floating island,
yeah. And then he'll like go up to it and then dive under the water and then come out with it. I'm like, there's no way, you know, like there's no way. It had to be the nose. So that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, I didn't want to geek out too much, so break it down. How do you use, you know, this breed perfected, you know, in your work there?
Well, it is. I think it's because how versatile they are. Dude, I'll take them for raccoons. I'll take them for, you know, we get on ducks out there and pigeons and all kind of stuff. And he works great as a retriever. He works good as a pointer. He'll go in there and catch it, track it. I mean, you know, everything. And, you know, I got like my cur dogs will, you know, do a lot of different stuff, but they're not pointing. They're not retrieving. They're not, you know, they're not that refined hunting machine like these dogs are.
I found, and now on that note, I'm curious, have you run into heat tolerance though? With them,
as far as the dogs having trouble in the heat. So that was my big worry with my draught catfish. He's one of my few dogs that we've bought. We haven't trained since a puppy, and he came from Maryland where he was a gun dog. And that's what I was really worried about, was him overheating and just being hot as hell. But he's adjusted to it really, really well down here. You know, we're out in the boat. He's jumping in and out of the water, obviously. But there's definitely periods of time where he's sitting in that boat just baking in 100-degree, you know, Florida sun. And he does good. I haven't done a whole bunch of work with him out like on birds out in the field where he's going to be staying drier. But Otto does really good with all that. And, you know, he's black and I would think he'd get really hot, but no, he does well.
Well, I mean, it's hot there on the back of the boat. I've seen your setups, you know, like, I mean, they're sitting on metal, you know, like
there's no bimini top, no T-top, nothing.
Yeah. You know, so he's in direct sunlight all day and then rockets off the side and catches it. Those things are so cool. Like, listeners, if you have not seen this, it's pretty cool, man. Check out his page, where he'll launch off the either the bank or the boat, and then chase down these iguanas and grab them, and then bring them back, jump up into the boat with a mouthful of lizard, and retrieve it to hand. It's
and that's
cool.
the thing, like, especially with these draughts, we don't even have to shoot them. I mean, it definitely helps, obviously, to shoot them, but I can't tell you how many times I've sent them up there on an iguana that ain't been shot, and they'll catch it, which is very hard.
I was going to ask if he could just run them down and grab them.
Oh, yeah. The main thing with that is most of these iguanas, they're by the water, so they can get to that water quicker than the dog can get to it. But if you catch them, like, the dogs will smoke them in the open every time. They will, and these iguanas are very, very fast, but they're the dogs.
I was going to say, let's cross a draught to a whippet and let's have ourselves an iguana coursing dog.
There you go.
I want to get a small little, like a teckle or something, maybe to send in the iguana holes to get down in there.
Oh my God.
Python Cowboy now is going to be an iguana terrierman too.
Yeah, or even, I know they have those, and I mangle it. I want to say Kichen or Kaichen, or dang it, it's the Germans like extra small version of like their little long-haired Dachshunds, because the Teckles are great dogs. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they're more substantial. They got a chest like a Yag Terrier sometimes, but like those little miniature long-haired Dachshunds have a chest like a Pringles can, like it's as wide as your forearm.
Yeah,
they're
that's what I need.
But I don't.
Are they
I
tough?
might ruffle some feathers here. They might have their work cut out for them with a big old lizard down in the hole, though.
Well, if anything, I'll send them down in there to gobble up them eggs or something.
There you go.
Nutritious.
Hey, do they bite? Like, what's an iguana bite like?
Yeah. So generally, like, if you end up grabbing one, most of the time they're going to try to claw you or like tail whip you. But sometimes they will try to turn around and bite you. But I don't know why they don't. It's not like a real common defense for them to try to bite. The bigger ones a little bit. When they do bite, though, they latch on. They don't let go. Like, you have to get like a knife and pry their mouth open.
So when are we going to see Chad training an iguana to be a catch dog for a pig? Go get him, Scaly.
I'll do it. It'll be a party.
Yeah, they ain't too smart, unfortunately. You never know with Chad.
I'm super glad that this is on film, because after you said tail whip, I instantly mimicked doing a tail whip, and nobody needs to see that.
So that's not a thing. They don't ever like.
They could.
I'm just curious.
Otto's been bit a number of times. Like, I mean, they always get him by the ear, and then his ear just bleeds all day. Which I know.
Okay, I've just always been curious. Now I don't want to hyperfixate on the blood and gore. I'm just like, is there? No,
they're not. Risk, if you do corner them, they're more so they're going to try to tail whip, and they open their mouth, but they're not like, that's not their real defense, is trying to bite. They will, but it's not their go-to. I don't know why.
Do you enjoy hunting the iguanas more than the pythons?
Yeah, I got kind of burnt out on hunting the pythons, to be honest with you. Dude, I did it like nonstop for 3, maybe even 4 years. And I feel like I accomplished everything I wanted to do with it, kind of. Yeah, and I still do it, but it's just, it's a lot more goes into it. Like, I got to get down there for days at a time. Or if I'm taking out a client, it's like an all-night ordeal, and it's not fun. Like, you're stomping down trails, or you're just riding in a truck.
I'm not a night hunter. Yeah.
The iguanas is a blast. You're out there shooting a ton of iguanas. You're watching the dog work, and it's action packed. I always tell people, if they want to come down here and do something with me, do an iguana hunt 1000%. It
does look fun. I've seen your videos, dude. It looks like really fun. I mean, that's what I love about small game hunting like that, is you get all these opportunities. When you shoot a deer, you shoot an elk, it's done. And then with an iguana, it's like, oh, actually, there's 10 more right over there. So,
dude, our best day of iguanas with clients is 91. That's a lot. That's a lot of killing.
That's awesome.
You're shooting, the dog's going in, getting everyone. Like, it's a whole,
wow.
It's cool. I don't want people to come out expecting I'm going to get them 91 iguanas, but
you said it's your best day ever.
Our average day is 15 to 30, but
not bad average.
I got Trump Jr. 60 of them.
Oh yeah,
dang.
60.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you: do you think that any of this kind of mechanical removal is going to do a dent to iguana population, or what do you think about iguana control as a whole? What needs to be done? Is it a multifaceted attack?
Yeah. So in the areas I'm doing these guided hunts and doing these removals for communities, I mean, it's a day and night difference. When I first started, I might be able to go out and get like 20 to 30, massive orange ones. And now we're lucky to get like one orange one on a hunt. In these communities, there's no more big orange ones. And those are the big breeders.
Why? Why is there no more people hunting them?
I've shot them. I've killed
You've
them.
shot them. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if you meant that was like
either me or clients. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
In these areas we work, which now since my YouTube and Instagram, I do see a couple other people on some of these public canals. Sometimes on the weekends and stuff, but again, we're the ones, either me or one of my crew out there basically 7 days a week for the most part. And yes, we're seeing huge results in these areas. Definitely I'm actually constantly today, I was scouting to find new areas because I've wiped out the iguanas in my areas for the most part. And that's a great thing, obviously, but in the rest of Florida, in the areas I'm not hunting, I'm not focusing, and other people really aren't, they're just flourishing. They're exploding out of control, and they're constantly spilling out into my areas I'm hunting. So we're never going to get rid of them. It's always going to be something we have to manage, but management is definitely possible and is crucial. We got to stay on top of them. Otherwise, we're going to be totally screwed. I mean, we kind of already are, but we can't let it keep getting worse.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Reptiles, their fecundity is insane. I mean, you can have 2 iguanas turn into 10,000 really fast. And
it's crazy.
I mean, yeah.
This time of year, every single female I get is full of eggs, anywhere from 20 up to 70 eggs. It's wild. And, I'm pretty confident that half of those will survive just from what I've seen. And in Florida, with our recent law changes, it's just getting worse. Just this past year, they now made it illegal to possess iguanas alive, which you might think that's a good thing. But the problem is no longer pet iguanas. It's wild breeding iguanas.
Feral iguanas, exactly. I guess. Yeah.
Someone releasing iguana literally makes no difference now. So all they did by now making live iguanas illegal in Florida is they took away all that free management we had from people coming from all over the country, all over Florida, here to South Florida to catch mainly baby iguanas, but adult iguanas as well. Take them out of state and sell them in pet stores where even if they got loose, they're not going to survive because it's too cold.
Yeah.
So now I've been seeing more babies this year than I ever have. And it's because of the recent launch.
Whoa.
And
that's an awesome thing. Yeah.
Myself and all these reptile enthusiasts warned the state that this was going to happen. But to them, it's more of a publicity stunt. It's people are crying about the iguanas, complaining about the iguanas. So now we're going to do this thing that looks like we're helping, but we're really just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Feelings on wildlife management? Yeah. No way. Yeah. Can you believe that?
So not doing anything to fix it, just make laws stricter on all.
That's crazy though. That's the beauty of the nuance of unintended consequences. I would have never thought about that, but yeah, the pet trade. I can't imagine how many people are catching them to just go sell them. Who cares if it gets loose in New Mexico? It's dead.
Yeah. I mean, one person would go down there in a day and catch 100. Like it's
wow.
It's wow. So. Yeah.
What are some future goals?
Myself and my buddies used to go out at night. We would go knock them out of trees. I mean, some nights we would end with 100, 200, and then we go sell them to the pet shops for $5 a pop. And now we can't do that.
Wow. Dang. That's crazy. A whole market collapsed. I was going to ask you, so what are some future goals for the Python Cowboy?
I would say like my biggest one is to really kind of get the state behind using dogs for pythons, and if I'm being honest, getting behind funding me and me doing a program for training dogs and training dog handlers and using them out in the fields. Aside from that is getting which this is big dreams here, but getting a big enough ranch where I can run my own outfit on it, doing hog hunts out there, doing gator hunts, Lake Okeechobee, Kissimmee, and lodge people out there and stuff like that. which I'm going to kind of do something on my current 5 acres I have, get a little bit of lodging for 1 or 2 guests. But I eventually do want to work with a landowner or even get my own place where it's 1,000, 2,000 acres and run an outfit out there.
It's awesome. That's awesome. I kind of touched at it, but yeah. Do you ever see the iguana and python problem being put under control, or like, is that, do you think that's possible?
Under control is one thing. Ever getting rid of them? No. Maybe under control a little bit. The pythons probably not, just because it's 1.5 million acres of impenetrable swamp, which is the Everglades. It just makes it hard to manage anything, really. Especially a cryptic predator like the python.
The most cryptic.
Yeah, 100%. But the iguanas, I think we can definitely manage them, get them under control. Maybe we just need to get more state funding behind, like a contract for each county, really.
What's the iguana hunting culture like there? Like, I can imagine if you put a bounty on them, is that something possible here? Like,
they don't want to do that though, because so FWC a couple years ago came out with this statement, basically telling people to go out and kill iguanas. They quickly had like a pool guy get shot and some other stuff. So then, less than a week after that, they came out with another statement and said, "Hey, if you're going to shoot iguanas, hire a professional to remove them on your property." So it was like, a big flip flop, and it was because they just came out and basically told people to shoot iguanas on their property, not just go.
Of course, yeah.
Iguanas on their property. But they didn't go into detail of how to kill them or anything like that. So you had people just out here like, animal cruelty on iguanas like crazy. They had some guy, which they charged him with animal cruelty, dragged it out from under a car, and I think he like beat it with his boot till it was dead or something. So, you can't just, we're Floridians, dude. You can't just turn us loose like that. We're gonna,
local meth head eats an iguana today.
Yeah, sure. So, what they need to do is just get funding where they contract professionals, where they get, they hire a company like me to do it for this county, and kind of control it that way, which is, I don't know where they're going to get the funding or what. They're already struggling with shit as it is. Mm-hmm. But it is getting to the point where it is that bad. I see it all the time on the canals I hunt. The embankments are collapsed, under bridges, the concrete's collapsing, and it's a big problem.
Yeah, I always feel like, it's a great way to control invasives is to foster a hunting culture around that animal. Like pigs have that culture, but just not enough people, and I feel like, that's where that iguana, a combination of, because like, hunters can only do so much. Really, it is professionals with better gear, better setups, and literally time, more time is what really makes the big dents. But I was just curious if it was popular.
That's what I've been trying to advertise for too, is to get people out there, show people that they actually taste good and their skin can actually make pretty leather products, which, maybe I shouldn't now, I'm making a living off of taking people on these public areas. But, I want what's good for the state. And I know there's so many iguanas out there. I think that I'm going to have them for a while.
Do you eat them often?
Yeah. No. Do I eat them often? No, I've eaten them.
You said they're tasty. I was like, all right.
I don't eat them often, no. Like I said, I'm not a real adventurous eater. And for me, I get so many of them. I smell them all day. Like, it's just nasty to me. Yeah. So I feed them all to my hogs, and then any of them that are big enough and not shot to hell by clients, I'll have leather products made out of them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But, you kind of ask what the iguana culture is like down here for hunting. There are people that go out and hunt them now, especially since, it's become big on, not just for me, a couple other people. I would say mainly for me, on YouTube and Instagram. It's kind of like the Wild West, dude. I hear of, people getting their windows shot out. I hear of people getting hit with stray bullets and all kind of crazy stuff. So for me, it worries me that the state is eventually going to kind of shut it down, which may not affect me. I'm permitted to be in all the canals I'm hunting. So, I don't know where the future of it's going, but right now it is. It's like the Wild West a little bit.
And that's one of the things
I think people are I hear people getting themselves in trouble. I don't want people to think just go out there and blast iguanas. Be careful. Your pellet is an extension of you. Technically they can armed trespass you. You don't want to get animal cruelty. You don't want to get wanton waste. So, just be careful, know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to bring up here a second ago is like a lot of times these are they like to creep in on, the living area of humans, so
usually they're all in like people's backyard. Yeah.
That's what was going on with my parents down there, where people were shooting them successfully in their own backyards on the limb, like out over the pond, and not thinking where it was going after that. And it would go across the pond, and it was hitting, houses and windows, sliding glass windows, and this and that, and doing damage to vehicles,
Pool boys.
Well, a lot of these
boys,
people,
evidently,
a lot of these people, they like don't have any experience with guns in the first place. I can't tell you how many people have come out on hunts with me that have never held a gun or looked through a scope, but they're gung ho on killing iguanas. And I mean, I even see
like Rambo.
Yeah, dude, they get like bloodthirsty for it. They want to take these crazy shots where I'm like, how in the world did you think that this was going to be? It's like, oh, I'm gonna shoot this one. Like, no, you're not. There's a fucking lady with her dog right behind her. What are you talking about? And it is, dude. It blows my mind how unsafe some of these people are. If
you're not raised with firearms, it's
100%.
And that's obviously your job as an outfitter and a guide to make sure that cannot be giving us a bad name.
I'm sure a pile of folks would even attempt to do this with a 22 long rifle too. Then you got a mile to deal with, let alone, so you're
not only that, you're illegally firing a firearm in city limits, probably on the side of the fucking highway.
It's a good idea to catch them where none of that can happen. Dogs. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, there you go.
So the pellet gun you're using, that's what you guys use, right? Air rifles, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What do you use? What do you like to use for that?
In Ed Gun Leshy 2. It's the Python Cowboy edition, actually. And it's
are you kidding me? Back up. Start from the beginning. What do we got?
You like how I slide that in there.
No, you got to hammer down on this. This is pretty cool. Start from, I want to hear about this.
So the Python Cowboy edition, you get it's a 30 caliber semi-automatic air rifle. It's basically an AR-15, dude. It is as sick as it gets. It's the baddest air gun on the market. It's, from what I've seen, one of the only air guns that's good not shooting at a target. Like, I can clip this thing on my side with my mag pull. I don't know why I can't think of it. My mag
harness,
pull,
right?
Harness, thank you. Yeah, harness. My mag pull harness, and it just hangs there. It's short, compact, light, dude. Laser beam accurate. For a while, maybe I shouldn't say this on the podcast, I would use a suppressed 22 on some of these iguana removals and just tell them it's an air gun. But when I got these things, dude, they're way more accurate. Like, they are laser beam. So I want to use these, and they hit just as hard. It's a 30 caliber. Python Cowboy edition, you get upgraded tank, upgraded AR-15 style Picatinny rail, and the upgraded suppressor that fits under the rail. So it's badass looking. And Does
it come in Python colors, dude? Because if not,
no, not yet. We're working on maybe getting a Python print one. We'll see. But I do sell Python accessories for it. Harnesses and all kind of stuff. So
cool.
If you're not cooking me Python liver, I'm not coming, dude.
But yeah, dude, those air guns they're badass. They're as fun as it gets, and it is. It's like a video game when you're out there. You got no recoil. They're dead quiet, and they're just a lot of fun to use.
Here's something that I noticed. There was a public area where some jackwagon kept dumping all these domestic ducks where I used to like to go hunt, actual game waterfowl, and they kept turning loose of all the, what the heck were these, like Peking ducks,
Peking ducks. Oh yeah, got a couple of them down here.
Yeah, and then I know you got the Muscovies like crazy down there. I used to catch them with my dogs when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite things. But back to the air rifles, so they kept putting all these in there, and then they were aggressive, so they're displacing all the ducks that I wanted to hunt. And
100%.
I wasn't 100% sure which house it was that was dumping them down there, but I just didn't want any conflict. But I wanted to be rid of them, right?
Yeah.
So I went and talked to my buddy who had some high-end air rifle and went down there to take care of these things. And I practiced with it. And when you shoot it, they are dead quiet. It shoots and it's just a little, and that's it. However, if you shoot, if you hit water or you hit what you're after, I swear, if you hit a duck with a 22 arrow, it sounds like you're clapping two bricks together. There's no way to make that quiet. I was not prepared.
It's got a little bit of a whop, especially a 30 caliber.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think mine was oh God, I'd lie. I had no clue. It was my buddy who's a gun nut. He was like, here, use this. I was like, awesome. I went down there and it worked. It was effective.
Let me ask you, were you head shooting them? Were you chest shooting them? What did you do?
Yes.
Into everything.
All of the above. It started off with a bunch of really classy, smooth operator headshots, and then they knew something was going down.
Okay.
And they started taking off running, and then at that point, I was just...
Dude, they're tough. They're tough.
Yeah. I was just raining heck on them, and then I, sent my draughts out there. I was like, get them up, get everybody up. I wasn't sure what was dead, so it was a train wreck. But by the end of it, I did actually get, and it was the same kind of stuff as with some of the coot videos. It was like they got into the brush, and I was like, great, just stay there, don't fly away, and we cleaned up all the ones on the water. But by the end of it, we killed like 28.
No shit. Damn.
Yeah. But
good.
Again, it was a barrel with a bunch of brush around it. So they chased a lot of them into the dry land around it, or the marshy areas, and pulled them out of there. But that was something that I just figured. Anytime I hear air rifles talk about, they're so quiet, they're so sneaky. I'm like, unless you hit what you're after, and then it sounds like a fireworks show going off.
So I do what you're talking about in these communities.
Okay.
In the middle of the night, because the residents, they'll feed all these damn Egyptian geese or Muscovy ducks, and then they crap everywhere. So then the community hires me to come and kill them all.
Mm.
And these people, I call them Karens, they'll lose their mind if they see me shoot one of these ducks.
Mm-hmm.
So
they get mad if your Yag Terrier catches one too. Let me tell you.
They hate to see the dogs catch them. Oh my God, they hate it. But I just got into it with a lady on the canal last week for that. But so I'll go in the middle of the night and wipe these things out, and I try to be as quiet as I can. But that's it is. You gotta be careful. They can be loud. Usually, I thankfully I haven't had anyone in the middle of the night come out to me yet. The next day they wake up to go feed their ducks and they're all gone. Poof. But that's it.
Local man gets caught beating goose with shoe.
Right.
Those Egyptian geese are actually a beautiful animal. I mean, I totally advocate for smoking one, but it's like the most goose with pizzazz. Why do they got to be so beautiful? You know what I mean?
I just caught 3 little babies 2 days ago for myself, and I kept them. I got them at my place.
Oh, awesome.
They're pretty as cool. They're super pretty. And then I'm always bringing people out to my place to see all the animals. So it's just one more thing I can show them.
Are they loud? Are they very vocal? Like
when they get to be adults, they're pretty loud, but they ain't no louder than my peacock. So.
Oh man, peacocks. Every redneck in the valley I grew up has like 10 peacocks, I swear. They're so annoying.
Yeah, they are.
Can you do a peacock call right now on Houndsman XP Python Cowboy?
Yeah, I'll leave that one off.
It's a very hi-ya,
like a jungle sound.
Yeah. My neighbor has one. And if you're listening, they're very nice. They are not annoying at all.
I don't believe.
I heard they're delicious, honestly. So
we had auto catch one, which was pretty cool. A live one caught.
Is that right? How much feathers did he go through before he got to the bird? He just
brought it back to me.
Okay.
I didn't really see the whole kill of it, but he brought it back and still had some feathers for sure.
Dang. That's badass. Florida is it's like hunting in a petting zoo. You know what I mean?
Dude, we've had Otto and my lead dog Moose catch a Nile monitor, just about 6 foot long.
Whoa! What's the weirdest thing you've caught and or hunted there?
Well, that Nile monitor is definitely up there. I've caught a white throat monitor myself. I had my dog as backup, but I caught that in the side of someone's house, 6-foot white throat monitor. I'm getting ready to hopefully go and hunt one of the monkeys we have down here.
Oh, really?
What do you have? Capuchins?
Okay, wait,
go
what?
back. Yeah.
Well, we have two different species down here. I think one's the rhesus and one's I want to say the macaw.
Macaque?
Yeah, macaque. Which so there's one up in Silver Springs and there's one down south, kind of on the edge of this park that people they go and feed them and they're becoming a big problem. Mainly, I'm going not necessarily clean up, but I've never hunted a monkey. So I figured I have a rare chance here in Florida. They're an invasive species. They're causing a problem. So see what I can maybe do.
Yeah. I saw a video of like a bunch of them like swan diving out of a tree.
That's in Silver Springs. Those I probably won't be able to hunt. Cause they're like kind of in a park and I think it'd be pretty frowned upon, but
and then we'll eat their liver.
This other place down south,
I won't let that go.
And like a tourist attraction. So
that's crazy, man. I wonder. Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. Honestly, I mean, it sucks that they're there.
Well, it is. The monkeys they got a potential to become such a huge problem, and I'm just surprised it's not more like on the radar of the state and everything like that. I think they're more scared of the backlash they would get from doing anything about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. They're so charismatic. Yeah.
But yeah, we got it all down here. I mean, I just had some clients shoot some parrots on a guided hunt not too long ago. They're nesting up in transformers of these power stations, and there's tons of them in some of these areas. Pretty green, parakeets.
So when I asked you future goals, you should have been like, dude, breed a monkey dog.
Monkey dog. There you go. I want to catch a monkey and train him to get the iguanas out of the trees. That's what I need.
You need like a civet or something, some kind of like high drive
or a hawk.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to get into that. I'm going to have to duck out for this one. You guys can keep going with the falconry stuff.
Dude, I'm frothing to start using a
so
it's so damn cool.
For the section of hunting with hunting iguanas and pythons with dogs. Is there anything else, brother? Is there anything you gotta get off your chest or something we need to know that we didn't ask you? Something you had in mind before?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it for a while and finally linking up with our boy Chad here. I would love to start using a hawk for iguanas. I think it would be perfect for it, and I think it would be cool as shit. And I think Chad agrees with me.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know what?
It'd be an absolute party.
That's what got me like really following and interested in Chad was I seen Seth Simpson mention him on Instagram. And then when I went to his page, I was like, dude, this dude's using falcons, using birds. And for years, last 2 years probably, I've been talking about it. And I just haven't been able to link up with anybody. And I have no idea anything about it. You know what I mean? I didn't know if it was possible or what. So, me and Chad finally linked up and he's got me fired up big time.
Yep. Nice.
Yep. Yeah. There's a ton of ways we can do it, at like we can come at it from, Buteos with red tails or maybe in the red shoulders hawks and, tying Harris's hawks, whatever. We got tons of options. And Seth's wanting to pour into that, here in a second. And I can't wait to talk about that one. But as far as like the cur dogs after the hogs and your python hunting and your iguana stuff, is there anything you want to share? Anything left to leave us with here?
You tell me what more should I share?
I don't know, man. I think we kind of touched on everything. We just like to give, people in case there's something they couldn't quite work in that they wanted.
Here's one, people always ask me, which I don't know if your audience is going to think the same thing. Cause your audience is more, thrill seekers like us, I think. But people always ask me why I just don't shoot the damn snakes. Why I bother catching them. And it's not just because for me, wrestling with a snake is the funnest thing in the world. It's, walking up and shooting these things point blank in the head to humanely kill them is what you would need to do. You can lose that snake very easily like that. You getting too close, it can bolt away. You not getting a clean shot, you're going to damage the skin, which for me, that's where I make all my money on them. That skin is extremely valuable. You're going to damage the skin. You're going to inhumanely kill the snake, or you're going to wound it and it's going to escape, which has happened to many, many people, even state contractors. I won't name any names, but I know a few state contractors that didn't feel comfortable catching a big 15, 16-foot snake. They tried to shoot it with their pistol. That snake got away. It's happened many times to people. So for me, I've never lost a snake, and that's because I grab them all by hand. Once I got them by hand, I know they're not getting away. And then, I can dance with them, wrestle with them, which for me is half the reason why I hunt them in the first place. Aside from that, I'm also down there for days at a time, sleeping in the swamp, and keeping these dead snakes fresh on ice is easier said than done. So I prefer to keep them alive in a bag until I leave the swamp. I euthanize them all before I leave, and then I bring them home and skin them out, do whatever I need to do. But that's like a big question I always get from people, so I figured I'll answer that.
No, that's a great one. I really think that's important. Saving the value of the animal, securing it 100%. Like not taking a pop shot at it. Wait till you get it in the bag. So no, that makes a lot of sense. And I can imagine a lot of people. I've seen people ask that before. So
all the time. Yeah, they think they're like telling me, so just use a machete. Like, okay.
Yeah, that'd be so much more humane.
Use a boot.
Yeah.
Just kidding. In the true Florida way.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get running, you guys. I got a big evening coming up here with me. I spent all day hunting hares, and now I'm going to go do some other crazy stuff. So, Python Cowboy, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate that. You guys are more than welcome to keep this going, sans Seth here, but I really want to thank you for coming on, man. You got a really exciting YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun, and maybe we'll all come down there sometime and we'll snipe out some iguanas.
Now we're talking. Appreciate you for sure.
Oh yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Let's hunt them hard and treat them like heroes, you guys.
Cool stuff, huh? What's not to like in there, Like,
yeah. I need to get a gun named after me.
That would be
one
cool.
day I'll be that cool.
Yeah. The
I don't use guns though. That's the problem. I not when I hunt with dogs. I don't, at least. And Chad, you shouldn't either. You need to get up there and just catch those lions. Quit shooting.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were a man, Chad.
Yeah, I'll get there one day.
You could probably train something crazy.
There you go. I've always he was actually talking about it too at one point, was the squirrels and the monkeys and all that. And I used to joke all the time back in Louisiana when I did falconry with some squirrel dogs, some tree dogs and a red-tailed hawk, and I was catching squirrels. And they'll get up into the nest, and sometimes the bird's on the ground after making a miss and it doesn't see it. And you see the squirrel run up and then hide in the nest. And then depending on your state, you're not allowed to bring a gun with you. There's nothing, there's tricks you can do when you're just using squirrel dogs. You just blow the nest or whatever, But with the falcon or the hawk, you're kind of at a loss. And I joke all the time about sending the capuchin monkey up there or something to slap the nest or tug on it, Like, oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious, And then if I got that far, then I'd have to have him ride in on the catch dog while hog dogging, like that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. If the hog flips the catch dog and takes off, maybe have a monkey with a tracking system on his back and he can just run behind him, or ride him. If
anyone's going to make this happen, it's you.
We'll see. I don't have any pigs right now to hunt, so it's on the shelf, but.
Let's go find some. Minus the monkeys. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that was exciting, Chad, man. I digged it, man.
Yeah, me too. That was awesome. I was having too much fun, really. So anyway, you guys, I wanted to make a couple quick shout outs. You guys, thanks to all our patrons out there. You guys have been awesome and engaging with us. I did want to make an announcement on the air here. I have recently discovered in the last few weeks that patrons, when you get emails or messages from Patreon, for me at Patreon, they go to your spam folder if your internet settings or your email settings may be set that way. So I'd really appreciate it if you haven't heard anything from me in a while and you're like, that's weird. Check your spam folder. And you will see messages from me in there. I make sure I message every patron about news and things like that. So if you're going to join us on Patreon, you guys, please supply me with your mailing address if you want to get sweet prizes and, get drawings if you win a monthly drawing. So
those are considerable. That's not just like a Patreon.
Yeah, they are.
There's all kinds of cool stuff, like really cool stuff.
Our monthly prize package is always a minimum of $50. Between $50 and $100. Our semi-annual is between $200 and $300, and our annual is up to $1,000. So, I mean, these are like big prizes, Mm-hmm. So that's one way we can give back. And so thanks to all our awesome sponsors and partners of Houndsman XP that have donated prize packages in the past. We really appreciate that you guys. So thank you. And also, there's a lot of really good episodes of Houndsman XP being produced right now. That's something that I haven't said in a while, but it's true and it's very heartfelt. Man, the episodes that Heath and Josh and Chris have been putting out with everybody has been top notch. I really have been enjoying listening to Houndsman XP in the last 2 months. I just think some of the guests are just incredible. So and good hosts. I really enjoyed you guys' tethering episode. I got a lot of good chuckles out of that, and really, it was interesting hearing other people's setups because I have a very open mind, but like my dogs live in a giant communal pen and my whole pack just lives in a big old 5-acre pen together and they just come inside whenever they want. But it's so funny, you never think of tethering as having that line up in the air on that like pulley system thing. That's something that you kind of never think about. And it's really cool. I could see keeping hounds like that for sure instead of building pens and fences just because, wow, convenient. You can move it around. And so anyway, I learned a lot from that. That's the beauty. I work for Houndsman XP and I'm still being a fan and listening to the show and learning stuff. So that feels cool. So anyway, great job to all the other hosts out there. You guys are making top-notch shows and I really look forward to listening more. So anyway, that was my spiel, Chad. That's all I got, brother, for this month. If you want to add anything, now's the time.
Yeah, no, I think we got it all. I think we got it all for this, for this go round. Looking forward to the next show.
Yes,
like we're not stopping there. This isn't just a high point. We got all kinds of good stuff coming.
Yeah, you guys. I always feel the best content's in person. Well, guess what? Me and Chad, we're mounting up and riding to a new location. We're gonna get some awesome in-person footage with a pretty famous guy. So stay tuned for that, you guys. We'll break that ice. I've talked to the patrons about it, but we're gonna have some sweet footage. Hopefully, if the hunting's good, which it should be, we're going peak time. We're going to have some sweet stuff coming up. So stay tuned for next month's episode, all mixed up, you guys. It's going to just be just as unique. And me and Chad are there. So it's going to be a good time. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Chad, for all your hard work, buddy.
Well, thank you too, bub. So let's work them hard and treat them like heroes.